hope you all are having lots of informative conversations and idea generation and all that good stuff. As I mentioned before, I was lucky enough to travel the state with the next presenter, Bessie Davis, who was the director of the regional libraries. And I love spending time with them. And Bessie also sits on our Friends of Tennessee Libraries board as the liaison to the State Library and Archives. With her experience across the state, she knows so much about Friends and the challenges they face. She is the first to volunteer to share that knowledge and to help us on any issue, and brings that great perspective of working with all the regional libraries. I'm grateful for her encouragement and support for local Friends and for FOTL, and I want to welcome Bessie Davis.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be back up here again for a second time. I gave you lots of handouts because I want to be sure this is an educational presentation so that you guys can learn a lot of different things in terms of what's going on now. Yes, sir.
Can't hear you.
Oh, you're like me, you gotta stay focused on the mic.
Absolutely. How about now? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, I hate being confined. I was saying that I gave you guys lots of handouts because the goal is for this presentation to be educational for you all in terms of the challenging times that we're having. So if you don't have all the handouts, you will know once I ask you to look through your packet. And if you don't have a particular handout, Ms. Janice will see whether I have any extras to give to everyone. I tried to print at least 60, so hopefully everyone got it. All right, without further ado, let's get started. The first handout you should have is a comparison of responsibilities. Here it is. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Comparison of responsibilities. Okay. Everybody see it? Right here. Roles and responsibilities. Okay. I want to set the foundation today, starting out with the roles and responsibilities for library boards, for library directors, and of course, our wonderful library friends. Okay. If you look in this packet, and if you turn it, you'll see it's already laid out for you, the different roles for library boards, library directors, and the friends groups, okay? We're not gonna go through this today. This is, again, a handout for you. We would never finish with all the handouts I give you. I want you to have something to take back with you. But just looking at this, you can see there's a difference in your roles. All right. Now, when you look at it, let's look at the, you should have the board's roles first. If you look at the library board roles and responsibilities, of course, the library board is our governing board. So basically what they're doing, they're developing policies, they're adopting them, and then you have our library directors who actually, they take those policies that the board has developed and adopted, and they create procedures and guidelines to implement them at the library. Now, when we look at the purpose and the roles for the library friends, your main role is basically to support the board and the library staff in implementing those policies. As well as, you guys have other support roles. And if you look here, here's some of your other supporting roles. You guys actually go out into the community or via Facebook now and ask for gifts, endowments, and memorials. And from my experience, there are people that will give endowments to the library. I was given over $500,000 in an endowment. And it was getting ready to pay out when I was getting ready to leave that library. Also, I remember Prince giving a library in Kentucky $40,000. We're talking about the single Prince. So the money is out there if you go out, because people love libraries and they want to continue that as a legacy also for their children and their communities. Also, you all give direct financial assistance for our library collections, for our building renovations and expansions. How many of you have given funding for library collections? Okay. How about for a library expansion or building campaign? Who's helped with that? Yeah, that's huge. We have construction grants at the state library, but your fundraising is actually what gets it all started, to have those matching funds. And of course, you guys sponsor the programs. We have the big summer reading programs, we have adult programs, senior programs. After COVID, workforce development type programs have always been very huge. Also, some of you may volunteer at your library. Are there any of you that volunteer at your library? Wonderful. See, this one here just shows we can't do without library friends. I know when I was a library director, my library friends were so integral to the success of our library. So I really, really appreciate what you do. Last but not least, which is why we're here today, advocating for libraries in these challenging times. Of course, you guys advocate so that you can bring community awareness and to encourage people to come to the library. And unfortunately, we have a lot of community members and local officials who may not come into the library because they don't know the benefit of libraries. They don't know how it changes lives. So that's when library friends partner with the library director and the library board to ensure the community know the importance of the library. How are some of the ways that the library friends advocate for the libraries? You write letters of support to legislatures. I'm sure when it's time for Library Advocacy Day, you will get a lot of emails from Kathy and from a lot of librarians saying, please, please, please go talk to your legislatures. Go talk to your local officials so that they know the importance of libraries. One of the things about the local officials, and this is an educational point, is the maintenance of effort. What is the maintenance of effort? The maintenance of effort is a contract that we have with the state, with the local officials, whether it's a city or county or both, to guarantee that your library receives funding equal or greater than a prior year. And it can never go down as long as they are in the regional system. So that's important for you guys to know, because of the fact that's your why of advocating to your local officials. Because unfortunately, a lot of local officials, whether they are the mayor, whether they are the commissioners, whether they are city councilmen, whether they are our city recorders, whether they are local attorneys, the county or city attorneys, or whether they are the director of finance, they really don't know a lot about the maintenance of effort and really how libraries work. So we're constantly educating them all the time. But again, I want you guys to know about those things, just so you know why it's important for you to advocate for your libraries. Also, you promote through civic groups and community organizations. You got all kinds of different organizations where you can go do presentations to talk about libraries. The library friends also should have a representative that attend board meetings on a regular basis. Why is that important? Because of the fact that you can let them know what's going on in your friends group and vice versa. They can let you know what's going on with libraries. And especially during these challenging times, you want to stay abreast of what's going on, okay? Does anyone attend their board meetings? Is there anyone who does not? I would encourage you just to do so, just so you can stay in the loop. So then you're not blindsided either. Okay. You want to also attend the annual legislative day that's going to be coming in 2024. And again, you'll hear from Kathy, letting you know that specific date. The next one is the same as before, but the last one is you want to, again, have a good relationship with the funding bodies, and we talked about that a moment ago. Now, to tie all this together, you got the library friends, you got library board, library directors. The key thing is to know that you are all allies along with the state library. We're all in this together. And in order to overcome and get through, and we will, these library challenges, we have to work together. We've had challenges nationally and in Tennessee, like a lot of them. And I'm gonna give you some examples. This article says, how to defend your pride display. Know your library display policy and garner parental support. Again, our displays in libraries for us is an everyday normal thing. You're just putting it out, just your display, so that people will know about your new materials. What's not going out, so that they can see that here's something that you may want to think about being checked out. We would never have known we were going to be challenged on a display. It would have never came to our minds. Here's another article. CALS sues state over law that could jail librarians. Now, when I became a librarian, I never thought I would get locked up for being a librarian. Never in a million years. Who would have thought? Well, somebody thinks it's something cool to do. We also have this article that says, see you in court, fed up and filing suit for intellectual freedom. Who would have known we would have had to go to court for just doing our everyday jobs, serving our community, educating people? Who would have known? I never thought in a million years when I decided not to practice law that I would come to librarianship and still have to utilize my law skills. Never thought that. Locally, in the newspapers, I'm just gonna say some of the things, articles. These are newspaper articles. You can just Google these articles. 4 books removed from a library. Library board pulls 4 books deemed inappropriate for children. And it was, book challenges was so hot at one community, they actually created an ordinance. It's called 23022 Community Decency Standards Ordinance. It promotes public decency, maintains family-friendly environments in public places, and protects against harm to minors from public expressions appealing to prurient interests or that are offensive to prevailing community standards. The ordinance supplement existing civil and criminal sanctions for indecent behavior, barring persons who engage in prohibited conduct from sponsoring events on a public space for 2 years and increasing to 5 years where the prohibited conduct occurs in the presence of minors. The next one says, this is another article, Public Library Talks Collection Policy After Book Challenges. Here's another article, Parental Limitations. New library policy will allow parents to control what their children check out. Last but not least, we also have our Reads Library Challenges. And Reads is our regional electronic ebooks and audiobooks download system. And many of you probably use it, if not all of you, and many community members use Reads because we have about 6 million checkouts, probably by this fall. It's a very popular, and pretty much, you know, you can just go online, you can get magazines, you can use your iPads, your laptops, your cell phones in order to read your ebook or to listen to your audiobooks. We've had 4 challenges for the Reads at the state level. And it was concerning Arthur, her last name is Hopkins. The books are Crank, Tricks, Traffic. And we are currently being challenged at the state level concerning those books with Reads. So as you can see, it's everywhere. It's nationally, it's locally, it's here in Tennessee. These challenges, we're hoping and we're praying they go away. But in the last year, it's been on. And it's not easy when you just receive a call from someone and they're upset. But we're going to talk about that as well later if you encounter someone that is concerned and upset about a challenge. What did I do with my little clicker here?
It's under your folder.
Thank you. It's like a good catch. Where is it? Now let's look at, and I gave you these policies. Because of all these challenges, the state library have asked all libraries a part of the regional system to actually have updated collection development policies, material consideration, and internet safety policies that protect children. And in your handouts, I've given you 3 handouts. It should be a library service agreement. And you should have the collection development and management policy. Public library service agreement looks like this. You don't have one, let me know. Collection development and management policy. It looks like this. It is a sample policy for the Clarksville Public Library system. Okay? Let's take a look at these real quick. Again, the main thing about these public library service agreement and collection development and management policies, we're hoping that this will help libraries to be prepared for challenges at the end of the day. That's what we're trying to do, and to ensure that anyone that challenges us at the state level or at the local level, we can clearly say, we don't have anything here that's inappropriate for children. Okay? If you look at the library service agreement, public library service agreement, first agreement, you can see on the first page, it's just pretty much the Public Library Board of Trustees will. And basically, this is just when the library board chair has to sign this, and when they sign it, they send it to me and I sign it. This is a contract just saying, hey, we're going to follow everything in this document. Whether it's a policy, and also if you turn to page, the next, if you look at number 8, Number 8 was expanded to include the collection development policy and the internet safety policy. Okay? And again, this is agreement that libraries that's in the regional system that signs every year. But this is the first year the collection development policy and the internet safety policy was added to it. And if you go to the very end, last page, it says Tennessee Regional Library System, Collection Development and Internet Safety Policy, Minimum Requirements. So you look at that, you will see these are the minimum requirements that every library in the regional system must have in their policies. These are the minimum requirements. They can exceed these requirements, but they must have these minimum requirements. Okay. Now let's look at the collection development and management policy. You want to be sure that, again, this is something you can get from your library director, but if you're attending the library board meetings, you should have a copy of this. If you don't, please get a copy of their library collection policy, which includes the reconsideration guidelines as well. Okay? And you want to get this because of the fact you want to be familiar with the policy the new minimum requirements. And if you look at this particular one, if you look on page 30, it says page 30 of 89. It says collection, selection guidelines and criteria. This is just how this particular library select their materials. Then if you go down to the very last paragraph, books and materials that contain sexual themes or content are reviewed by the Clarksville Memorial Library independently for age appropriateness and cataloged accordingly. This is the kind of language that you should be noticing in your policies, and you will notice. If you turn over to page 31 of 89, you look at the top paragraph, last sentence, it will say, no funds received by the Clarksville Public Library are used to purchase, nor will the library acquire material that is deemed illegal and under current state and federal statutes. Okay? And again, you'll see collection development for age groups and special populations, page 31. If you go on now to page 32 of 89, you'll see censorship, and you see the ALA freedom. You'll see challenges to collection content. And if you go to page 33, you'll see something about displays and the responsibility. And then last, you'll see on the last page, page 35, the request for reconsideration form. Okay? So we have that. And again, that's just for your information so that you'll know. So please get a copy of that. And at your friends' book sales, you want to have a copy of that as well. Okay? Just in case someone asks you about it. Okay? These are some things, some tips that you can use if someone comes to you that's concerned about library challenges at your particular library. You can remain calm and, of course, remain friendly. You can listen to their concerns and you just sort of thank them for bringing it to your attention. And then right off, you can just, hey, I'm going to give you the library director's name and contact information and pass them on. Okay. But I know we have some brave souls in here who love to engage in debate. So, just be mindful, don't speak on behalf of the library. Okay? Also very important, be mindful not to criticize your library's official decisions, policies, and guidelines. Okay? And the very last thing, do not assume it's off the record, whatever you say. Because everything you say, even on your Facebook page, it will come back to haunt you. Here's some example conversation bridges. What I can tell you is, I hadn't heard that. I have to check back. I have to check. What I know is, I respect your views, may give you another perspective. 4, in our library, the policy is, you got the policy, just read from it. Number 5, we share your concern for children. Our approach is, you got the collection development policy. Here's our guidelines. Internet, also in safety policy, you get that one as well. So you have the guidelines for both. My experience is, okay? Those are some good conversations. The Miller test for obscenity. Basically, the Miller test is a a three-prong test. And when the library board create policies, they should use the Miller test as their guide for creating their policy, which is what they should be doing anyway for state, federal law. All the policies should be within the bounds of state and federal law. It wouldn't hurt if you had, if the libraries are also contacting their local city or county attorneys just to vet out those policies to be sure they're good to go. Here's a link to our Tennessee Code unannotated. If you go to Title 39, that's where all the stuff about obscenity is, okay? Or you can just type obscenity, it'll come up. Tennessee Code, it will come up, yeah, Tennessee Annotated Code. ALA's Freedom to Read statement, I gave you a copy of it. Everybody got a copy of it? Because you got a copy of that, I want to make sure everybody had a printed copy. You can take it with you. Key point. Every library may not have adopted the entire Freedom to Read statement. They may have used it as a guide to write their policies, to reflect their local library community. Or they may have adopted the entire ALA Freedom to Read statement. So that's why you also want to be familiar with the collection development policy, because it will let you know. And the example that I gave you in Clarksville, they actually did include the ALA Freedom to Read statement, okay? The disclaimer for library friends, book sales. Okay. This is very important because there's somebody, hopefully not ever, but somebody.
No, last book sale. Last book sale, that's why we've had this now.
There's always somebody who's gonna come and challenge you at your book sales. That's why, again, you want to attend your library board meetings so they can know what's going on with you. You can know what's going on at the library. And now that you're attending, if you're attending and you want to henceforth, you'll know about the different challenges, newspaper articles that's going on, people coming to the board meetings, their concerns because of a public comment section. They are making public comments. There's libraries across the state who may have upward of 50 or 100 people coming to make public comment. That's why it's important for you to attend your meeting so you can know sort of what's going on. Fast forward, when you have your book sale, somebody could come and challenge you. You have these materials. Children can check these out. Children can do X, Y, Z. Why are you selling these books? You don't even want to go there, okay? Again, use those guidelines for how to handle concerned patrons. You're just going to send them to the library director, listen to them, thank you for your concern. And now you got an example disclaimer. Even on your eBay, Amazon, you want to have these disclaimers. Brentwood has an excellent disclaimer. It's unfortunate that you have to have all these things, but you have to have them just to protect yourself. And you want to not do this in a vacuum. You want to let your library board and library director know you have a disclaimer so that in the event you are challenged, again, you're allies. You come together to help each other, okay? All right, that's the end of my presentation. But before I wrap up, are there any questions? Any specific questions? Yes, ma'am.
Are the metro libraries, do we participate in the READS program?
No, not for our Tennessee Reads, but they have their own form. Like for example, Nashville have their own Reads type program. Memphis have their own, Knoxville. But we pay for those in our regional library system. And that's around about 212 libraries, but it doesn't include the big four. Again, Nashville, Knoxville, Memphis, and Chattanooga.
But like Bessie said, they do have their own, but it's just called something else.
It's not called Reads.
No.
That's, okay, that's.
But I think it's managed through like Overdrive, like Reads, has another name.
Any other questions?
Have there been any challenges to Friends book sales in Tennessee today?
I have not heard any as of yet.
Just our cranky lady, two sales ago, and next thing 2 sales ago, didn't she pick up, the one that was Williamson County, removed from the curriculum? So it's like a mid-level children's reader, and she said, this is banned. And our book sale chair did awesome, because we never done this before, and she went, then you don't have to buy it. But we created this just in case,
So-
to have in our back pocket.
Would it be advisable then, let's say that our Friends group puts out a flyer listing all of the book sales in our branches? Would it be a good idea to put the disclaimer on that sheet?
Yes. I will put it on any marketing. Yeah, because you don't want to bring attention to it, but you want to have it there. Be like lawyers. When you're buying a house or a car or whatever, put it in small print. No, it's there. And blow it up when it's time for the challenge.
Bessie, I have a question about the books in our library. I'm the director of a rural library. In our collection, our children's nonfiction is shelved with our adult nonfiction because studies have shown that adults that read on a low level will not go to the children's area. Because the children have to be protected, do I need to move those nonfiction books to the children's area and get them out of adult nonfiction?
I'll say this in terms of everybody's libraries. It doesn't matter whose libraries. The decisions rest with the library director. That's why you went to school, to decipher what those age-appropriate materials should be and where they should be and who they should be checked out. That's not to say someone won't challenge you. So I would go back and sort of look, and make sure you ask your staff, hey, let's, look at some of the collections. Are there books that are questionable? If there are books that are questionable, that they know, because you have the experts at your library that deals with the children's books, young adult books, teen books, juvenile books, and then you bring all those books that are in question, and then you can decide at that point how you want to handle those particular books that are in question. And so you don't have to go and read every material book that's in there, but somebody could come. Just be aware. Somebody could come in there and say, there's another book you left there, and it had something about XYZ, and I don't think it should be there. Okay, here's my policy. Will you please complete it and bring it to us, and then we will take care of it from there. Okay? If you got further questions, you got my contact information, you call me. Okay? Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Hey, so one of the things that I think is super important and why I wanted to have Bessie here is because they really are your advocates and your allies. Both she and Jamie Ritter, the state librarian and archivist, or archivist, depending on what part of Tennessee you're from, are really helpful in making sure that they have the resources that you need to support your library. You need to know just what she said, the collection development, the reconsideration. I got stopped in the grocery store. I never go to the grocery store. I make my husband go. And all of my food spoiled in the cart because she was like, are the friends buying those bad books in the library? And you know, I try that remain calm, be friendly crap. And Janice and Maxine can tell you that's not me really. But I listen calmly, and and the whole time she's talking, what I hear on repeat in my head is, I know you read 50 Shades of Grey in the elementary school car line, so everything you're saying is not computing to me. But I was able to refer her to the policy, to how the collections are developed, to what the library is not in locus parentis. That is not the library's job. I said things like, I'm offended by lots of things in our library, and you know what? I just walk on by. If you're not offended by something in your library, there's a problem. Everyone should be offended by something, because it should be viewpoints that you agree with and you don't agree with. So please reach out. Bessie's very open to helping you and answering questions. But we all just need to be on a consistent message, on the same page, and supporting one another.